In this video, we're going to go through the syllabus pretty quickly. This is big picture. You should definitely read the whole thing in detail on your own. Okay, page 1, pretty standard stuff. Instructor information and office hours at the top, but more on that shortly. Page number 2, we have the course topics. The thing to note here is just that the course is divided into 4 units. Maybe read through this and get a sense of the kinds of things you're going to be learning, but you'll see this page again towards the end of course, and it'll make a lot more sense once you've actually learned all of these things. Page 3. You've probably already noticed we have a Blackboard site. Everything that you need to have or do for this course, you'll find it in Blackboard. There's no textbook. Everything that you need to read and do will be arranged into modules, and they'll be on Blackboard. Okay, communication. So there are a number of ways that we can communicate. First and foremost, remind messaging. If you see at the bottom of the page here, this class uses Remind, an educational messaging tool, to communicate. So if you get the app on your phone or mobile device, we can message each other a lot like texting without having each other's phone numbers. You don't have to get the app to use Remind. You can also receive Remind messages by email or text. But I recommend getting the app and getting the messages as push notifications. I will be sending all of my course announcements by Remind. So to get them, having push notifications enabled would be great. But if you don't, or if you don't have Remind at all, it's not required, you can see the course announcements on the Blackboard homepage. There's a little widget there, and everything I send by Remind automatically gets posted to the Remind section of our course homepage. So you can still find the messages, but it's up to you to seek them out and read them. I also prefer that you use Remind to contact me. You can use email. I'm not a fan, but I will answer them in a timely manner within 24 hours. But that being said, I will answer Remind messages a lot faster, and on weekends probably. Let's see. I will contact you individually by Remind as well, especially for smaller issues or questions or anything, but if there's something bigger or more formal, I'll send an email as well. You should sign up for Remind right away. You can do it by following the links on the syllabus or by looking at the Blackboard homepage. You'll see the little Remind section, and there's a button you can click to do it there. Okay, other ways that we'll communicate in addition to using Remind, again, email's an option, I just don't like it. Zoom office hours are an option. Once a week, I'll hold online live office hours, and you can come to those. More on that in a moment. There is a Q&A discussion forum. You can post a question there, and I'll answer it. And we'll have something called check-ins. More on that in a moment, but that's a way you can get a hold of me. And you can request appointments. We can talk in real time as well. There is a contact information page with detailed information about ways to get a hold of me and how stuff works. Here you can follow this contact information link. You can also find this in the main menu of Blackboard. Okay, as I said a moment ago, I'm going to hold online office hours. Those will be Wednesday evenings from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. every week except for spring break. I'm going to do that using Zoom video conferencing. It's a tool that you don't have to download or worry about. When it's time for office hours, you'll just sign into Blackboard, go to the Blackboard homepage, and there will be a link. When you click on that link, you'll enter the virtual space, our office hours. Now, ideally, everyone will have their cams on and mics, and we can talk, but that's not required. If you're in a space that's too loud or whatever reason you have, you can turn off your mic, you can turn off your camera, and chat your questions. It will say everybody's name when we're actually talking to one another, but then I will record the videos, and in the recordings, there will be no names. So if you can attend office hours, you can check out the recording. You can also submit questions in advance to the Q&A discussion forum, and I can answer them during office hours, and then you can go back and watch the video. If you have any questions about how to participate in office hours, don't hesitate to reach out. Okay, appointments, I'm happy to schedule them. We can use Zoom to chat one-on-one. We can chat in real time using Remind. Academic integrity and code of conduct. Of course, you should be familiar with the school code of conduct, and you should conduct all of your work with integrity. For a course like this, where you're doing a lot of homework, quizzes, and an exam, the number one thing you should do is do your own work and don't do other people's work. Pretty straightforward. Okay, evaluation. How are you going to be evaluated? For this course, you're going to check in each week. Check-ins are very short. They're due at 11:59 p.m. It's basically an opportunity to say hello and how you're doing. There will be homework due each week at Friday, end of day, 11:59 p.m. That's when homework will always be due. There will be 7 quizzes throughout the semester for a total of 42%. There will be 1 final exam worth 25%, and there will be a course evaluation worth 20 extra credit points. So you can get a sense of the relative weight of each of these kinds of assignments. And then in this middle chart here, I've broken down the things you'll do by category, and then in the second column on the left, you can see this is the number of each thing you'll do, what each one individually is worth, and what it's worth as a percentage of the final course grade, and then what the category is worth as a total. So you will complete 14 homeworks, each one worth 20%. That's 2% of the course grade per homework. That adds up to 280 points. So homework as a category is worth 28% of your grade. And you can see that for each kind of assignment. Okay, a little more on what each of these categories entails. So homework. As I said, there will be 14 homework assignments starting this week. Your first homework assignment will be due Friday, end of day, 11:59 p.m. this week. So there'll be 14 of them, 1 a week, each worth 20 points for a total of 280 points. They will be open book, open notes. There will be no time limit. You'll have 3 attempts. The questions will change for each attempt, but they'll be very similar. And there will also be non-graded practice exercises with solutions available, so you can practice without having to worry about, getting stuff wrong in your homework. I already talked about check-ins a little bit, but there will be 15 opportunities to check in, 1 a week, due at 11:59 p.m. on Fridays. Each one is worth 5 points. There's 15 opportunities. You only have to do 10. That means you can forget or skip up to 5. Ideally, you'll check in every week. It's super easy. It's quick, painless, small number of points. But you can miss up to 5 for whatever reason. Quizzes. There will be 7 short quizzes throughout the semester across different units. Each one will be worth 60 points. They'll be pretty short, like 10 questions. And they'll be open book, open notes. They will be timed 60 minutes, but it's supposed to be a fairly comfortable amount of time to do them. You'll have 2 attempts. The questions on the quizzes will be similar to the homework questions, and there will be practice quizzes available, so these shouldn't make you panic. There will be a final exam. The final exam will be cumulative, worth 250 points, or a quarter of the final grade. The final exam will be open book and notes. There will be a time limit, but I don't know exactly what that's going to be yet. I'm probably going to break the exam into parts, so you can take it as separate parts, and each of those will have some kind of time limit. You'll get 1 attempt. The questions on the final will be based on homework and quiz questions, and there will be a practice final, and there will be 1 extra credit opportunity. The course eval, 20 points. Okay, late work. Check-ins cannot be completed late. You check in for the week. If you forget, then you check in for next week. You can forget or skip 5 of them with no penalty. Just try to remember to check in every week. It shouldn't be hard to do because everything for the course If it has a due date, that due date is Friday, end of day, 11:59 p.m. So just check in whenever you submit other things. When you submit your homework, say, remember to check in. Homework and quizzes, also due 11:59 p.m. on Fridays. You get a 1-week grace period after the due date where there's no penalty. But then after that grace period is over, not accepted. So there's flexibility. You could fall behind by about a week, not have any penalty, but you can't fall too far behind. After 1 week, it's not accepted. You can still do them, and it might be instructive to do so, but you can't get credit for them if they're more than a week late. Final exam will be docked 50 points for each day it's late. The final exam is going to be due on the last Friday of the course. Hopefully there aren't any issues with taking that on time. You'll have the whole week to do it. I think that about covers the late policy. So the idea is to build in some flexibility, but you can't fall too far behind. At some point in the semester, maybe within a month, I'll have the later parts of the course set up and you can start to work ahead. But the number one thing to do is not fall more than a week behind. Okay, page 7, some important dates for dropping or changing your course schedule. So this class requires that you're doing things every single week. If you go 2 consecutive weeks without completing anything, I'm going to send you a message by remind and email. You'll have 5 days to complete the missing work. If you don't, you'll be dropped. I will drop you if you are not completing work. I'll do that for you so that you don't end up getting an F or a W depending on the time period. That being said, it's up to you to make sure that you drop your course if you're not completing the work for it, or if that you've decided that you're not going to continue it. So be aware of what these dates are. February 8th is the last day to drop with a refund and without getting a W. And the last day to withdraw with a W is April 12th. After that, a grade has to be assigned to you. And it's your responsibility to make sure that you do this. Okay, let's take a look at the course schedule. So there are 2 pages that have the course schedule on it. The first page is in terms of modules, content, the material we'll cover. And the next page covers the course schedule in terms of what's due and when. So how to read this. On the left-hand column, you have due dates. These are all Fridays. Anything that's due for the class is due at 11:59 p.m. on a Friday. The material covered that week is what is in the horizontal row associated with that due date. So for February 1st, this Friday, you will have homework due, and that homework will cover material from 2 different units. Module 1 of Unit 1, which is introducing arguments, and Module 1 of Unit 2, which is called Symbol Game. Your homework will deal with 2 different units, and units are arranged into modules, which are all on Blackboard. So that's how to read this. What that means is that we're going to be covering more than 1 unit at a time. So for the first week, we're covering modules from 2 units. Next week, we'll be covering modules from 3 different units. This is not a traditional way to structure a course. Usually you cover 1 kind of material or 1 unit at a time in order. We're covering 3 concurrently. I promise I'm doing it for a reason, and that by the end of the semester, you should agree that this was a good way to do it. But when you're first learning the material, because everything is new, it feels perhaps a little bit overwhelming, but after week 1 or 2, you should get comfortable with the setup of the course, and it should start to make sense. And if you don't think so, you can always let me know in a check-in. Okay, so this is the schedule of material or modules. Last but not least, we have the course schedule in terms of assignments. You might print this out and use it as a checklist. Everything that's due is due Friday, 11:59 p.m., end of day. Here's a list of what's due and when. All right, so time to get cracking on your first homework assignment and your first check-in.